Shri Krishna Chaitanya.
So there is a trend in this world that to equate humans with machines. In fact, this is not a new trend, but there have been philosophy going on parallel to spiritual philosophy, and the name of that philosophy is materialism. And materialism basically says that the human is just this body what you see, and the functions of this body is same as any other complex machine, for example like computers. It has been a trend 100 years back to equate this body as computer and mind as software, a very famous analogy. And with the invention of robotics, scientists are more so convinced that this human is nothing but machine. And moreover, DARPA, which is actually an intelligence agency, a military firm in America, they are convinced, including MIT, that machines can even surpass humans, not only in bodily functions but even in intelligence, and one day they can even take over humanity. And there is a long debate going on whether this making robotics and artificial intelligence, whether it is ethical or not ethical. Now, having said all this, there is a parallel debate going on and parallel study going on in consciousness studies, in psychology and parapsychological fields, where the scientists are convinced that it is impossible to make a machine which can equate humans. Not because machines cannot do something which will be much better than humans, not because machines are less efficient than humans, but because of three factors which differentiate humans as living beings versus machines which are simply complex circuits, that's all. Now, what are those three things? If you read so many books on consciousness, so many books on artificial intelligence and robotics and philosophy of artificial intelligence, these debates have been going on. If you read everything, three important crucial differences are there between humans and machines, and it is even beyond dreams of any scientist at the present state to even imagine or even think how we can replicate these three things which are in humans into machines. We even do not know how to start this. We even do not know how to define these three things which are found in humans, which machines are utterly incapable of, which is not there in machines. Now, the first thing is, these three things are subjectivity, intentionality and transparency, which is acronymed as SIT, S-I-T. Now, what are these? Humans, because they are living beings, they have this quality of subjectivity, which is not only humans but all life forms. And the subjectivity means that humans are self-aware. Now, this is a big concept, self-aware. We are aware that I am a human. I am aware of my presence in this room. I am aware that I am speaking to you. I am aware that you are speaking to me. But it's not the same with machine. Just like this camera can record my voice, record me, but can we say camera is aware that it is recording me? Can we say the camera is aware that it is listening to me? Well, many scientists say not at all. Many philosophers say not at all. Some philosophers like but some philosophers are in this opinion that, well, machines are self-aware, and even if they are not self-aware, Ray Kurzweil and all these computer people, they say even if they are not self-aware, we will make machines which will be self-aware by 2030. Now, they have this claim. So after some years, your Mac will know that it's a Mac, and your Apple and your Dell will know it's a Dell, and Mac will try to boast that I am a Mac, and Dell will weep that I am simply a Dell. That's going to happen like that. It's a crazy scenario which scientists propose. But anyway, There is no definition of self-awareness. First of all, self-awareness is not a quantitative thing. It's not an objective thing which you can. Self-awareness you cannot define according to scientific terms, because science deals with quantification. You can't say self-awareness is this much milligrams, this much liter, and this much of self-awareness is there. No, we don't know what to do with this. It's a very subjective thing. I cannot even prove to you that I am self-aware to you, because it is totally my prerogative. Self-awareness is for me, it is my word, self-awareness. So but then here's a problem. How can we prove that I am self-aware? But this again question lands into problem, because to prove anything you need quantification, but we cannot quantify self-awareness. So we all know that I am self-aware. You know, I am. Everybody knows we are self-aware. It will be foolish to say that we are not self-aware. It's foolish to say. So that is one thing which will differentiate man versus machine, self-awareness. And we don't expect a machine to become self-aware. And if anybody claims this, well, you can make, I think to say machine will become self-aware, it's at present state it is fantasy, it is just imagination, it is just dreams, that's all. The second thing is intentionality. Intentionality means that a machine cannot have intent, it cannot decide on its own, but a human can decide. For example, if you program a robot, okay, walk 40 steps, take that instrument and bring it back, and if you run it, it will walk, it will take it and it will come back, provided it can balance and do all those things. Let's assume that at present stage even a simple activity as walking is a big project for robotics, which is actually intuitional for us. So intentionality, it cannot stop. But if you ask a human, okay, go walk 40 steps, take that thing, come back, a human can do one thing. It will walk 20 steps and it can decide, well, why should I take it? It will come back. It might not even come back. He might go somewhere else. I decided, that's all. So humans have intentions. Intentions means you can willfully change your decision, but that machines cannot do. It has to go according to the programs, because it is having no intention. It cannot decide to change things. Well, now you can say, well, there's artificial intelligence, and there is something called randomness in computer field, and there's something called fuzzy logic, all these things. So, well, you can say computers can decide. Artificial intelligence, okay, by taking a lot of inputs, it can decide, okay, I'll give this choice. In your Google, you type some word, and if you keep on typing, then it gives smart choices which you had been typing. So, well, computer is deciding which choice to give to you. But again, whether it's artificial intelligence, whether it's neural networks, whatever it is, at the base, every computer is deterministic. It is going according to softwares, according to your instructions which you are giving. Whatever permutation combination is doing, it is according to your instructions. There is no intent whatsoever. This is second thing, intentionality. And third thing is transparency. No machine can feel. Now, there's a difference between self-awareness and feeling. Self-awareness is, which I talked, subjectivity. It's I am aware, I am present. A child is not fully self-aware. A child doesn't know whether he's in society. He can do anything. He just passes urine somewhere. The child is self-aware of his body, of his existence, but he's not self-aware of the culture, of society. But as you grow, you also become self-aware of culture around you, of society, social settings. So that is self-awareness. Feeling is, if somebody hits you, how do you feel? That's beyond self-awareness, over and above self-awareness. Okay, how do you feel in this circumstance? How do you feel when somebody says to you, are you hurt? Are you happy? Are you depressed? Are you elated? Are you enthusiastic? All these feelings are bunched together in transparency. Transparency means your senses are contact with these objects. There is no wall between your senses and objects. You just come in contact with this word and you feel something. That's the point. That's why it's called transparency. So feelings, no computer has any feelings. In fact you can see, if you program a machine to kill somebody, well, that machine will keep on killing, that's all. There's no feeling. It will not stop, it will not weep. It will just keep on killing. That's what it is supposed to do. But a human cannot do that. In fact, it is noted, people who execute, who hang people, and even in Islamic words, people who take sword and cut people's head or arms, those executioners, even though they are ordered to execute, but they have bad dreams, and they are actually troubled by those killings because they feel the pain of that person. But that's not the machines. So this is a difference between machines and humans. We are not simply machines. We are not simply these bodies which is just moving by its reflexes. We are beyond this body. Body we have analyzed. Their tendons, their bones, it looks like machine. But in active world, human is much more than machine because of these three factors: subjectivity, intentionality, and transparency, which actually hints to the fact that there is something beyond this body. There is something which you cannot quantify bioscience. There is something which you cannot scan, MRI, you can scan your brain, but these things you cannot scan, you cannot do anything with these things. So there is some spiritual component. This is a term which scriptures introduce, spiritual. Spiritual means which cannot be quantified. Feelings, transparency, intentionality, it is self-evident within all of us. We cannot quantify, we cannot prove this to anybody, and yet we have, and this goes to say we are more than this body. That's why scripture says there is soul and body, two different things. Machine doesn't have soul, and the quality of soul is these three things: subjectivity, intentionality, and transparency. And that's what makes us unique as living beings, as humans. And our job, our endeavor should be to preserve these uniqueness in us: subjectivity, intentionality, and feelings, culture them and use them to understand higher wisdom, reality, and God. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.